Yo. Hi. What up? Yo, Wagwan, it's that guy. 9lokknine. 9nation. Yo, Glock 9. This guy's rap sheet reminds me a lot of Lil Wayne in the early days, Hot Boy times. And I like his flow. I like the way that he's being different on these beats and in his raps. And definitely love the way that his freeform locks are growing. Representing Florida, this dude has some crazy wicks, more of the natural kind though. And today we're going to be looking at his locks, a little bit of an update video since last year when we first did a video on his locks. So representing Miami, Florida, it is Glock 9's freeform dreadlock update. So make sure you stay tuned, stay subscribed. This is 9nation. And now that we're here today on this beautiful Monday, we have a snowstorm hitting in Canada where I'm at today. So that means a lot of just staying in and recording. The hibernation begins. I have some super vlogs on the way from a couple adventures that I've taken in the past couple weeks. So you can subscribe to my vlog channel. Link is in the description where you can see some of that footage in action. I have been talking with the Wick lady recently and praying for that collaboration, whereas I'm gonna plan to go down to Florida to meet with and do some filming of her techniques and see how we can really understand how the wicks are created down in Florida, and then hopefully get a few interviews as well with some wick heads down there. Speaking of wicks, we are looking at Glock 9 and his dreads are pretty representing of that. So without further ado, let's get right into this dreadlock review. Oh, that's me there. If you're looking at Glock 9's newest video called Letter to the System, premiered on November 2nd. This video is really going to show us where he's at with his locks. Now, this obviously not him, but it's representing him as a kid. This kid's locks actually looking pretty fire. I think that these are freeformed here too. You can see some finger dreads here in the back and some Congos up at the front, but nonetheless, we're not really looking at his locks per se, but more so Glock 9. And here's a close-up of Glock 9's dreads at the moment. Now, he does get the front and the side tapered up just a little bit in his journey. And if anybody has Sideshow Bob hair from Simpsons, Glock 9 really holds it down for this imitation, if you will, representation, recreation of his locks. When I'm looking at his locks here, I'm noticing that his tips are naturally blunted. Nothing is overly round or crocheted to look like that. He does have some dye in his hair as well. But for the most part, his dreads are actually hanging down to about his nose, and the back here seems to be shaved as well. So he is rocking those high top dreads. The crazy thing about these pictures here is that his boys are all repping dreads as well. You can see his brethren here rocking some wicks. This guy's growing in some here from the start. Glock 9's dreads looking the heaviest out of them all. And you can see these side Congos here happening on the front and the side as well, showing that his dreads are getting thicker as they grow in more and more. Now, I'm a fan of his crew's dreads that's going on here. His buddy's hair looks pretty thicker than Glock's individual locks, but what we can see here is that the top of his head is Congoing up into something like the Weeknd had. His sides here Congoing up into bigger dreads as well. So eventually, dude's gonna have, very few dreads on his head in terms of size and quantity. They're gonna be down and under 10. If not, they might already be at this point because it looks like he's not separating anything at all. Looking at his locks, I like the way that they kind of stick out and they're starting to fall down. Now, this means that the weight and the maturity is getting to a length where they're not really supporting themselves anymore, sticking straight up. And the length here is really going to show us that, with 2, 3, 4 years into this dread fro right now, we're going to start to see his dreads dropping and getting a lot longer, probably at a quicker state right now. just because once they do get to that length where they're not awkward and baby locks standing on their own ends anymore, the growth tends to come a lot quicker. Here we can see the shape of his locks, and it looks like, again, a big Congo here on the sides. So his dreads really starting to come together these days. Really wild. And to me, I find these to be natural wicks, where they're just happening organically opposed to using a crochet hook to make it work. Here's a little close-up of his locks in this video. Again, this is what I call the weekendization of the dread, and this is just from not separating. The front tends to always want to clump up like this, and it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty confident to have a hairdo like this, and for some reason the tapered on the sides kind of make this look a little bit cleaner than what it actually is. And you can see here on the back there's a big Congo happening on the back of his head, and I wonder if he's still bleaching his hair. To get this light brown opposed to a blonde bleach, you obviously just use less bleach in your hair for a shorter amount of time to get this coloring. Little kid here has got some dreads growing that would turn out to be like Glock's, except his hair dropping a lot sooner than Glock's is, mainly because he doesn't have as much Congos going on here. But even his hair looking pretty dope, and I would love to see where Glock 9's dreads are coming from, because in this still you really see how the whole front half of his head is actually really one big dread at this point, flopping forward. We've seen this similarly with Alfred Payton and his freeform locks that he actually had to cut because they were too in his way of his free throw shots. So Glock's dreads kind of looking like Alfred's in different areas. And here at the side, you can see that there's another really big lock going on. Maybe he should change his name to 9lokknine, because it looks like he's going to have about 9 locks on his head at the end of all this. And seeing where he came from, he had a bunch of different dreads, but now as they grow together, you know, few and few end up being the result of his locks. So I'm definitely a fan of the dreads that he's got going on here. Definitely looking forward to seeing where these Congos go down the road, if he decides to separate them, if he decides to cut them off entirely. You know, maybe he's going to end up bleaching them like a lot of these dudes in Florida do. And his brethren here with the same sort of locks going on, but without any dye. I hope to see his dreads Congo up and get thicker as well. Not even really sure who his brethren is here. So anyone knows his Instagram, I'd definitely love to check it out. And yeah, definitely big up Glock 9 in Florida for producing such great music and producing such great dreads to help keep the nation motivated. So that has it today for the Glock 9 freeform dreadlock update. His locks definitely being very inspirational, helping people motivate themselves to grow thicker, longer, wilder locks, and to not be afraid of expressing who you really are. You know, be comfortable in your own skin, thicken that skin so that when people do try and bring you down about your organic hair, that it's not going to bother you and it's not going to throw a cloud over your head and make you want to feel like you're going to cut your locks off because of other opinions. Just remember to stay true to yourself, stay true to your locks, and do what makes you happy, because there's no point in really fulfilling your life around other people's happiness. You know, you got to be happy first is what it always comes down to. So just remember that. Stay tuned and stay subscribed, of course, and stay happy and stay nappy. I'll see you guys in the next dreadlock update. Until then, peace out, one love. This is Not Nation, that guy signing out. And I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video, because we are here doing dreadlock content on the daily. So until then, I'll see you guys next time. I'm gone. Adios, bitches. Black.
The Nation.